Liz. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Really good. Nice to talk to you. Well,
Yeah.
really good is overstating it. I'm holding up. Everyone is healthy so far and really ready for us to move on to whatever the next phase of our new world is going to be.
Absolutely. I must compliment you. You have a lovely background you look very composed, very at home.
Thank you so much. This is a bit like I remember in my childhood when my parents would have people over a party where like they would clean only the rooms they would see and then everything else was shoved into all the other rooms. That's you don't want to look anywhere else but this 3x3 space.
Wonderful. Well, it's such a pleasure to get to talk to you about this special just because it seems like it was a really wonderful opportunity to get the gang back together.
Exactly. And that's why it was such a joy. And to try this technology out that I believe we're the first comedy that's gotten to do this technology. And our show the series was already done when we got the news that we were going to get back together and make this interactive special. And I'd like to think it could become a habit if enough people watch it. I mean, let's do the Christmas special. Let's go for it.
In terms of, filming it, I just it seems like it was a not the simplest script to be following.
Right. It was very complicated. And I really believe there was only one or two people on set who knew what was happening. So it was quite confusing for all of us. Certainly the timeline was, because you weren't sure when you filmed different pathways what had already happened or not happened. And also the page count was so underestimated. It would say we were going to film 5 pages that day, and you ended up learning about 14 or more because we had to film all the different paths you can go down, and they weren't necessarily all in the packet of pages that you'd be prepped for. So it was complicated, but I think our show is so perfect for it, and our writers are so perfect for it. There's so much material that these hilarious writers write, so many jokes that don't make it onto the page, or so many jokes that don't make it to air, that this is a chance for them to write every joke they ever wanted to write for us, film every joke they ever wanted, and hopefully you can find every joke that they ever wanted to write.
No, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I've played through it 3 times now, and I feel like I've seen nearly everything, but definitely not everything. Like I feel like there's still a couple of paths I could go down.
Yeah, I watched the first time with my son because I needed my son to show me how to make my remote work. I mean, when the 9-year-olds are running the technical world right now, for at least in this house. And so, yeah, I've seen a bunch, but I haven't found all the things that I would still like to kind of find that I know we filmed at some point. So that's the joy you can have. What a better time when we're all need to social distance and stay home. You could stay safe and watch hours upon hours of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, I mean, is there something you filmed that you definitely hope people get to experience?
I mean, there's so many, because there were so many that I didn't know that of other people's. Because when we did the read through, we only did one path, which I guess if we were going to have a premiere, which we were, I guess they would have just aired one path. I'm not really sure how that would have worked because there are so many ways you can go down. So for me, there was great delight in seeing what everyone else filmed and got to do. There are so many scenes that I filmed that I've not been able to find yet. And I know they're in there because I did, ADR for them. So I know they're in there. I just haven't been able to find a whole bunch. One of my favorites that took me a few goes to find was a little fantasy of Jacqueline's where she's singing in French.
Yes.
And dancing in the 60s, and there's an astronaut roller skating around her. I mean, I'm not even sure why any of this is happening, but we filmed it, and the man roller skating is one of our longtime hair people. He's been with us through 30 Rock and does Tina Fey for everything. His name is Guy, and he's amazing. And Tina Fey actually did the scratch vocal for that to show me how to sing it in French, and I personally loved it so much. I was like, please just keep you singing it. Because first of all, it's hilarious that I'm lip syncing to you, but also I think it's a little hidden treat for people to go find it. And she sounded amazing. She sounded way better than I ever would singing in French.
That's wonderful. I had no idea it was Tina Fey.
It is actually, it's her vocal. So that might be the one you want to go search out.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually know where it is. That was, I think, when I hit on my first pass.
I also I was not there the day Jack McBrayer filmed. And so when I watched it for the first time and saw Jack McBrayer show up in the prison, I was like, wait, what? Jack, why did, it's a bit like when you follow people on social media, you're like, wait, they're in New York and they didn't call me? Like, I was sort of like, Jack, I didn't know you were on set. I would have come out wherever we were. Because I love that guy. And it was a joy to see his hilarious little face show up on our special.
No, it was wonderful. Speaking of which, lots of people are talking about doing reunion specials these days. Have you guys, as the 30 Rock cast, talked about that at all?
I would not be in on those like the early conversations. And so, no, I don't know. I don't believe so. But it was very comforting to see the Parks and Rec one. They raised so much money, which was so nice. Of course it would be a delight to see everybody again and hilarious, but I am not aware of any talk of that.
Of course. You'll just get the email like, what are you doing Tuesday?
And if that's the surprise that it is, it would be an absolute joy to see everybody. We're in such a different world that I think the Kimmy special will do this too. You're sort of longing to see the old characters that you knew before we were in this position. And so it's kind of nice to go back and feel comforted by that. I'm also finding it incredibly comforting to see our shows that, especially like the late night comedians coming from their homes. It makes us feel like the world can still move on and still happen while we're in this little period of time. And it's the same, seeing you and getting to do these interviews with you guys. It feels like our world is still going, and we still do what we do. So thank you for that.
Of course, it's the touch of normal. It means a lot for all of us, I think. Really quickly, just to wrap up, I wanted to make sure I also asked, you got to work with Daniel Radcliffe, and what was that experience like?
Well, first of all, it was incredible that he said yes to come on this special. He's a big get for us to have on the show. And I only ended up doing, I think, 2 scenes with him. So I got to know him very little, but I just loved him. I thought he was so game. He's hilarious, which, he had a lot of comedic material to hold and carry. And he did such an amazing job. And I just left the project and left working with him, like admiring him. I think he's the real deal, and I look forward to seeing everything else he does in his career.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Stay safe.
You too.
Yeah, and hope the rest of these go well.
Thank you so much. So nice to talk with you.